All right, I'm back with another one of my give and takes where I answer questions that women have for men. And the fact of the matter is, in the process, I usually end up pissing them off. Why? Because I tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And today I have a lovely young lady who's got a few different questions for us men. So let's get right to them.
Here's some questions I have for men. On behalf of all women, we would all love to know. Number one, do you ever fantasize about having children? Like, do you, in your head, pick out their names and how you address them? Or does that not happen?
Well, darling, I wouldn't necessarily use the word fantasize, because while it's okay for women to fantasize about having children, if a man uses that word, people lose their minds and make assumptions that he's, well, you know. But to answer your question, absolutely. Most, not all, but most men think about having children one day. I mean, who doesn't, right? As I've said many times before, it's the actual reason we humans, all of us, were put on this earth. So yes, men do think and want to have children. But the real question is, are they actually willing to have them now? And the answer to that question, I'm sorry to say, is no. No, because they know that at best, they have less than a 50-50 shot of being able to parent their child, of being able to be their dad, a dad who loves them and who cares for them. Men today know that it's far more likely that a vindictive mother will do anything and everything she can to disrupt their parent-child relationship, and in the process, end up hurting the children they claim to love and care for. All while, of course, claiming it's his fault he's not in the picture, because, well, they're the perfect mother. And to answer the second part, no, we really don't think about names in most cases. That's something that we'll address if and when a woman gets pregnant. And while I can't speak for all men, I think it's pretty safe to assume that very, very few of us think about how we're going to go and dress them. That's a woman thing, not men's.
Okay, number two. How can women make men feel safe when labeling a relationship? Be honest, how can we not scare you off? Guys, do you even know?
Oh, we know. We know for certain. Now, you're asking a great question, but the honest truth is, you're most definitely not going to want to hear what the answer is. Because the truth of the matter is, as things stand right now, you can't make us feel safe. You've all weaponized Me Too and the Believe All Women movement, and false allegations these days are rampant. So it's very hard for any man to feel safe around any woman, including one he's in a relationship with. In fact, I'd argue the least safe woman for a man to be around is a woman he's in a relationship with. Why? Because so many women, literally millions per year, make false allegations of abuse, R and SA, and other similar things, especially in family court, mostly in order to gain custody of the children. It's called the silver bullet, and per most of the divorce attorneys I have interviewed just this year, it's being used in 50, 60, and in some cases they've said as much as 80% of the divorce cases right now. Put that on top of all the women who claim it's harassment if a man approaches them, looks at them, or talks to them, especially if she isn't attracted to him. The truth of the matter is, ladies, you've all jumped the shark on that, and it's going to be a very, very long time before men ever feel safe around any woman, if ever. But to answer your question, in the old days, a man felt safe when he was heard, when the woman he loved actually listened to him and didn't try and weaponize his feelings against him, when she showed actual care and concern about him and gave him the respect and peace he deserves, the very same respect and peace she expects from him. Again, though, a woman who does that now, hell, a woman who's even willing to be open to the idea of doing it, is as rare as a purple three-legged unicorn flying around farting fairy dust.
Why can you never find things that are right in front of you? Like, do you just need help from us all the time? Or what's the reason? Why can you never find things?
Well, as someone who struggles with this personally, the best answer I can give to you is, who knows? And while I know you think it's only men who do that, the fact of the matter is, women are every bit as guilty of it as men are. The difference is, you all won't admit it because, As we know, taking accountability is to women as kryptonite is to Superman. This is, however, an excellent example of how today's modern women will pounce on anything that sounds good and use it to bash men and demean them because, well, that's what makes you strong, independent boss bitches, right?
Why don't you ever show sad emotions? Like, when was the last time you cried? In front of someone, especially. Like, do men cry? As a woman, I think I cry a bare minimum once a month. Like, do guys cry? Do you want to cry? I'm only curious.
Oh, men cry. Not usually in the way that women do. We're not going to be bawling on the floor. We may not even shed tears. But we do indeed cry. But usually we'll do it internally and in private. And why is that? Because today's modern women have proven beyond any reasonable doubt that it's simply too risky for a man to open up and show his emotions to them. And I'm sorry to say, darling, the fact that you're asking this question, the fact that you're wondering if men cry or open up, tells me that every man who's in your life, every man who's around you, even the ones you love, knows it's not safe to show any emotions, let alone cry, in front of you. Look, I'm not trying to be mean here, but if you're seriously asking that question, then it's absolute proof that the men around you have realized that showing any emotion, sharing a thought, feeling, or even an opinion with you is only going to end up biting them in the ass. They don't feel safe expressing themselves, most likely because they know if they do, you're going to weaponize it against them. You're going to twist it around, make it about you. And or you're going to run around telling everyone you know what he said. I'm willing to bet you've done just that already many times over. And any woman who denies doing it is almost always the very same woman who's most guilty of it. In fact, I can't remember the last time a woman actually admitted to doing it. Yet, y'all ask men over and over, why don't you open up? Hell, you even attack and demean us for not doing the smart thing, for not exposing ourselves, not risking ourselves. You take it as some sort of personal affront or fear, when in reality, it's a smart, prudent decision based on looking at the facts and the potential risk versus reward.
On behalf of all women, we would just love to know the answers. Please.
Well, I just gave them to you, darling, and it's not the first time that I have, and I'm sure it won't be the last. And I'm willing to bet most of the women who've gotten this far are absolutely seething right now. Others have bailed out long ago because, again, they can't handle hearing how men actually think, what they actually feel. Better for those women to wallow in denial and victimhood than to have to take an honest look in the mirror, right? And speaking of honest, in the end, that's why you keep asking these same questions over and over. Because you're hoping the answers will somehow change, that you'll get the answers that make you feel good, that fit your narrative, your fantasies, your emotions, not the ones that are the actual truth and reality that men have to live with. Which is why, even though men have told you the things I've said earlier over and over and over and over again, you keep coming back and asking the same questions, hoping you'll get a different answer. It's the literal definition of insanity, and it's why men don't open up, don't want to be in relationships with you, and don't want to have babies with you. Because a man would have to be certifiably insane these days to do so.